What's up, everyone? It's Coach K. Welcome to Beyond the Arc podcast. This has been a long-term project. We've been planning it for quite a while, but it's finally come to life, and we're super excited to have you on board. So the reason we picked the name Beyond the Arc is because basketball is so much more than just what happens on the court or beyond the arc, the three-point line. The way that we picture it is, some players, especially in today's generation, because of Steph Curry, we're always thinking of shooting from behind the arc, but there's so much more to basketball than just shooting threes, right? We got our free throws, we got our layups, we got our mid-range jumpers. We still got our defense, our rebounding, our passing. There's so much more than just shooting a three. And there is so much more in basketball than just what happens on the court. Basketball is a lifestyle. If you're a hooper, you already know that. And this podcast is all about hooping lifestyle. How can you be the best basketball player you can possibly be while you're a student athlete? So you got school, you got family, you got friends. And how do we make a balance between all of these and be successful? So that's the section of the podcast for players, but we're also going to have sections for parents and for coaches to help elevate everyone's game. So if you are into basketball in any way, shape, or form, this is the podcast for you. So also, another big thing that we're going to do on this podcast is we're going to bring a lot of guests in. These are people from Dubai or even international coaches and world-class trainers, and they're going to share with us their experiences, their advice, and anything that they have to share with you so that you can elevate your game. So this leads me to today's topic. Why Beyond the Arc? Why this podcast? What makes it so special? The answer is really simple. It's one word: Dubai. Dubai is just different. And in many ways, it's different in a good way. But when it comes to basketball, it's a challenge. The reason is that Dubai is so special in many ways, and it takes away a lot of the basketball culture. Obviously, it's a new country. Obviously, the basketball culture has not been developed such as countries in Europe or in the States. And so it is still a challenge. It is growing really fast, just like anything else in Dubai, but it is a challenge. And we, as people living in Dubai, who's been here for a really long time, we're here to share with you some of our experiences and our advice as a basketball player, parent, or coach who lives in this country, and how you can make the best out of it. So let's compare Dubai to other countries around the world when it comes to basketball, and why it really is a challenge for you as a player to elevate your game and to be the best version you can possibly be in the UAE. There's three reasons. The first one is money. And I'm not saying that everybody here is a millionaire, right? That's one of the biggest stereotypes, that when I travel to Europe, people think that we just, we make millions out here. We don't. We're broke. But there is money in the country, right? As kids, most of us, we've grown up in a good neighborhood, in good houses. Our parents were able to afford to sign us up for academy training with good coaches, world-class facilities, awesome equipment. So that all sounds great, and you would think that that would help kids elevate their game a lot faster. In reality, it's the exact opposite. If you have everything, you have nothing to chase. And that's the biggest issue with kids these days in Dubai. Just because the day that they start playing basketball, they have everything they need, right? They got the best gear. They got the coaches. They got indoor facilities and nice equipment. They got everything they can possibly imagine from day one, before they're even able to make a right-hand layup. So what are they chasing? Why are they chasing greatness? And so there is no vision. There is no purpose behind why kids play here. Now, in a second, we're going to talk about how we can use this to our advantage, but we'll get there in a bit, so don't rush on that. That's the first issue. It's money. The second issue that we have are distractions. And distractions come in many ways, shapes, and forms. Distractions come in many ways, shapes, and forms. Obviously, this is not just in Dubai. In every country, there are distractions. But given the money that kids have and the culture that it is here. Kids have more distractions. Every kid has the latest set of video games. Every kid has a nice phone. They're able to go out with their friends. And by going out with their friends, I don't mean they just, go and hang out, sit down in like a park or a community. Most of the kids are, their outings, they'll spend $50, $60 on food just to have dinner, going out with their friends. And, the competition in today's world with Dubai kids is all about the looks. It's all about, what you're wearing, where you're going, what you post on social media. Again, that exists in other countries, I know, but Dubai is it's multiplied by 10. So the second thing is distractions. We are not able to focus and lock in on what we say we want to do because the society around us and the kids around us are not super focused. They're distracted with all those things that don't really matter. They're really materialistic. But it's the truth. It's the truth. And as teenagers, it's very challenging to step out of your comfort zone, to shut down all that noise, say, hey, screw everybody, all my friends at school, all the people that I know, and all the things that they're doing, and just let me lock in on what I've said I'm going to do. In other countries, you'll be able to do that easier because hoopers in general are locked in, right? So you would leave a friend group that is distracted and you'll find another friend group that is super focused. That is a challenge for teenagers here in Dubai. You're not able to switch to a new friend group. Most of the time, you're just going to be lonely if you decide to go alone, if you decide that you want to elevate your game. And again, we're going to get to a solution, but that's our second issue. It's distractions. And the third one, the last one, which I think is the most important one, is soft culture. And soft culture means that the kids here, because of everything that's given, because of the money, the distractions, the freedom, the kids are soft. And the parents, given that they've come from a lot of adversity, when they come down here to Dubai and they're making good income and they're living a good life, they don't want their kids to experience the same things that they've experienced. And that's not wrong. I understand how a parent would think that way. Obviously, your child is everything to you and you want the best for them. So you don't want them to go through all those trials and tribulations that you've went through. But it does yield in a very soft culture. Kids don't know how to deal with adversity. The moment that things don't go their way on a team that they're playing with, whether it's their playtime, whether it's winning and losing, winning championships, whatever the case may be, they face adversity, they quit. They find another option. Academy hopping is really relevant here. Obviously, I know that in countries like the States, academy hopping exists in the AAU. Now with the NCAA's transfer portal already open, kids are transferring more than ever. So I understand that it exists in other countries, but I'll tell you, in Europe, it's not very relevant. It's frowned upon for a kid to start in one place, in one club, and move to another spot and another spot and another spot. And at some point, nobody wants them. And so, again, we go back to adversity in Dubai. Kids don't know how to deal with it. Hey, if my team is not doing well, if they're struggling and we used to win some games and now we're not winning that much, or if I was the superstar and somebody just came in that's better than me and I'm not, any type of adversity, how do we face it? In Dubai, kids don't want to face adversity. They haven't seen it because since they were young, they haven't faced any adversity. So they don't know how to deal with it. And so the solution to many kids, most kids, is let me go somewhere else where there is no adversity. And maybe that works at, young ages. Maybe that works when we're playing basketball right now in an academy where we pay some money every month and go out and train and play. But what happens when you grow up a little bit more and you get into the workforce? You get into the real world and you face adversity. You can't quit. A lot of things are going to happen that are really challenging and you can't quit on that stuff. You have to stick with it. You have to find a solution. So that is the third issue. It's the soft culture. And the other part, contributing part to this is not just the parents, it's even the coaches. Coaches here are too nice. Now, I know because I speak a lot with coaches, that part of coaches being nice is the parents. If a coach here is a little tough on a kid and yells at him or something, some parents will come over and say, hey, what are you doing to my kid? You know, you hurt him emotionally. And yeah, well, I'm doing it because I care for him. But I understand the challenges that coaches face who come from other countries around the world, and they've learned the game in a different style. They come in and try to do the same thing here, but it doesn't really work. So coaches end up being a little too nice. And there is a solution to that with coaches. This episode is not about that, but I will very briefly just share it with you. Being tough on a kid doesn't always mean yelling. You know, being tough on a kid could mean just telling them the truth, right? So telling a kid that, hey, you're not good enough to be a starter. You're not good enough to make the team. You're not good enough for whatever, a position or role that you've said you want to take over. And being honest with kids, being transparent, telling them the truth in a friendly manner still teaches them how to learn to take adversity, how to learn to handle it and grow through it, right? And then you support them, obviously, and you encourage them and you say, hey, I'm next to you, and whatever you need, I'm there for you. And let's get through this together, right? So that's one way. But again, this episode is not about coaches right now. We're talking about the players. And the reason that the culture is currently soft, I want to say, in Dubai. So coaches, parents, the culture in general is just, again, we're not made up to grow here and face adversity. So what is the solution to all of these issues that we just spoke about? Let's go through them again. We got money, we got distractions, and we got soft culture. First thing is money. Money is a double-edged sword, right? If you have a lot of money, you can either go ahead and invest it and grow your assets, or, you can use that money to do really terrible stuff. And similarly, if you're a youth player, a youth basketball player, a teenager, or even younger, and you're playing basketball here and you're able to buy whatever you want, the best gear, the best equipment, whatever academy you want to train with, you're able to. So how can I use this double-edged sword to my advantage? Well, I would use my money in a very different way. I wouldn't buy the best gear out there, right? At least not yet, because I don't deserve it. What I'll do is I'll invest that money into programs, into coaches, online programs, and programs that coaches are doing right here to develop my game. So I'm going to invest my time, my energy, and my money into what's going to help me grow, right? And I can set goals for myself where I can reward myself on the long run with things that I want. So if I want the nice shoes, right? Whatever shoes it is, and I set a goal for myself that, hey, if I am able to work out 6 days a week for a month straight, then I'll buy that shoe, right? So now that money, that double-edged sword, becomes to my advantage. I've invested my money into something that's going to help me grow. I've set a goal and I've chased it. And then once I achieve it, I'm still able to get what I want, right? But I'm chasing something. And again, we said that the problem with money is that if you have everything, you have nothing to chase. So we're creating something to chase for ourselves so that we're able to elevate our game with money. And again, having money is useful. If you're able to train with in nice facilities, if you're able to hire a good coach, if you're able to work with good equipment, if you're able to afford online programs from world-class trainers and go out and run those, drills in the backyard, in your park, whatever, shoot, most kids here are able to buy their own hoop, put it in the backyard with like a whole half-court setup with the linings and everything, right? So you have your own private court to do all your workouts. And so, the struggle that some kids face who are not as fortunate is whenever they want to work out, they can't work out. They can't afford to rent a gym or a court. They go to a park, the courts are packed. So where do you work out then? You have the advantage because you're able to afford those things. You're able to do what you plan for yourself, and you're able to follow it because you have the advantage of having money. So again, it's a double-edged sword. Use it the right way. That's the first one. Second one, we go into distractions. And distractions, again, they exist everywhere. The best thing that you can do is to teach yourself how to delay gratification. And the example that we just spoke about with money is basically called delayed gratification. For those who don't know what it is, delayed gratification means rewarding yourself, but after a period of time. So it's delayed, right? And so I don't get everything that I want the moment that I want it. No, I teach myself to be patient, to trust the process, and then reward myself when I accomplish something that I've set for myself. Okay? So let's take another example here, right? We want to lower the distractions and increase our focus. So our smartphones, our PS5, right? Going out with friends, all of those little things that are some sort of reward, right? They give us what's called a dopamine spike. So the moment that we open our phone and we start scrolling, we get some dopamine in our blood. And dopamine is responsible for happiness. So we feel happy. We feel like we've done something. And if we go back 100, 200 years ago, the way that you would get dopamine is, for example, reading a book. And you would read 50, 60 pages and you'd get some dopamine. You'd play a game of chess and you'd win the game of chess and you'd get a spike of dopamine. A game of chess can last pretty long. So your gratification is delayed. And so when you go to work, you're able to be patient. You're able to sit down and stay focused. When you're training, you're able to stay focused because your body is used to delayed gratification. So you would go out on the court. It's tiring. It's exhausting. You don't want to do it. But your body is used to working out, put in effort, because it knows that at the end of it, once you're done, you're going to get a spike of dopamine. Now the issue is we step on the court and we don't want to wait an hour and a half. And we don't want to wait an hour and a half until we get our dopamine spike. So instead, we scroll on our phone, right? Then it gets even worse. We don't even go to the court because we can open our PS5 and start playing and get our spike of dopamine, go out with our friends, right? So teaching ourselves delayed gratification is key in Dubai because we need our systems to be used to persevering through tough times, through challenges, and then winning at the end. And then once we win, we get our dopamine spikes. Okay, so let's teach ourselves commitment. Let's teach ourselves delaying gratification, right? Here's some of the things that you can do. First one, fill up your time with better stuff, right? When you're busy and you have a set schedule for yourself, distractions are minimized. If you have nothing to do, that's when you start to scroll more and go on the PS5 and go out with your friends and do all those things that are useless. We have so many kids in our academy that are 14, 15, 16, and they've even started side hustles. And if you're a young guy, that's what you should be investing your time with, right? You should be doing stuff that's useful. So starting a side hustle is an option. Setting a schedule for yourself to work out on the court and then to hoop, maybe to lift if you're a little bit older, right? And so doing all those things, focusing on schoolwork. And believe me, when I was in school, I hated schoolwork. I hated homework. I hated exams. I didn't like any of it. I was still an A student, but I didn't like any of it. But the reason that I did it is not because I like studying. It's not because I love sitting down and opening my math assignment and solving equations. No, the reason I did it is because it taught me commitment. It taught me delayed gratification. The whole concept was I want to teach myself to be able to handle things that I don't want to do and still do them. Okay? So do that. That's one. And then two is don't compete with your friends. Don't compete for looks, as we said earlier. Instead, compete with action. If everybody in Dubai is wasting their time, if every teenager is wasting their time in Dubai doing useless things, and you're locked in and you're focused, where would you be in 2 to 3 years? You'd be way ahead, right? And so that's the competition that you should be looking at. Action, not looks. It's not about the stuff that I'm wearing. It's not about the things that I own. It's about where I'm going. And hey, if these guys can't follow, then I'm out. I'm going to find a new circle. And I know that we said that, with teenagers, it's very difficult to switch from a terrible friend group to a really good one. Maybe that is very relevant with basketball, but what you can do is you can find an older group, especially if you're a teenager, 15, 16 years old, because on one side, yes, Dubai is very distracted with younger ages, but every entrepreneur, every smart guy that has a good idea and a business or something that can flourish is trying to be here. So this is a hub when it comes to innovation, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to money, right? So if you surround yourselves with people a little bit older, maybe in their early 20s, who are entrepreneurs, who are fighting and creating a future for themselves, and you hop on board, you can learn a lot, you can grow a lot, and all of a sudden, you're not lonely. You got a friend group of people with the same goals, the same aspirations as you. So part of getting rid of those distractions is changing your friend group and finding the right circle, the right people to be around you. And you don't need 200 friends. You need 3-4 guys that are real friends who are really serious and they have the same goals and aspirations as you. So the last one is soft culture. And the question again is, how can we navigate through it? So one thing is sticking to one spot. And again, when it comes to the idea of academy hopping and team hopping, look, if your coach cares for you, if they're serious about your development, right? If you see that you're progressing and you have been progressing, you have no reason whatsoever to go somewhere else. It is as simple as that. You don't need to go anywhere. Not everything goes your way. Not everything goes the way that you want. If you look at the NBA, we have 30 teams playing. How many win a championship? 1 every year. 29 teams don't win a championship. If you're trying to win, the odds are against you. It's always stacked against you. But it's the idea that we don't quit when things don't go our way. It's the idea that, hey, I'm going to be tougher than everybody else. I'm going to grow tough skin. I'm going to be able to handle adversity. Instead of quitting, I'm going to find a way. If I am not getting the playtime that I want, I'm going to put in more work, which goes back to eliminating distractions and using my money the right way, right? If the team is not winning, if we're having a terrible season, maybe it's time for me to step up my leadership. Maybe it's time for me to invest my money into a couple of leadership books and start to learn how to lead my team. Maybe it's time that I share some of this information about distraction and focus with my teammates. And then we all agree and we all commit to grow together. And hey, maybe all of those guys on the team are not going to buy into it. Well, that's fine. I got to lead by example. I got to show them how it is. And then they'll buy in at some point when they see me as a basketball player and how fast I'm growing, right? And then eventually, hopefully, they'll follow as well. So that's all we got for you today. Today was a short, quick podcast. It's an introductory one. But again, if you're a Dubai hooper, if you're a teenager out here and you love basketball, be smart with the money that you have. Eliminate your distractions. Lock in and toughen up with this soft culture, and your separation from everybody else is going to be tremendous. Everybody is using their money the wrong way. They're distracted and they're soft. So if you just better than everybody in those 3 categories, you're already at an advantageous position, and hopefully that will be enough to have you ahead of everybody else on the court and off the court. All right, guys, that's all we got for you today. And make sure you drop us a comment of what other topics you want us to speak about. We are open to all topics, and we're looking forward to growing this podcast with you. All right, I'm Coach K, and I'm checking out from Beyond the Arc.